All right, let's kick off another deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at Seth Godin's The Icarus Deception.
Oh, excellent choice.
We're going to be using some excerpts from the audiobook,
Yeah.
and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this one. This book kind of like flips the script on how we think about work and success, especially now that we're in like a connection-based world.
Yeah, it's really interesting how Godin kind of like questions the whole foundation of what we think of as like success, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's saying we've been trained to play it safe, like prioritize fitting in rather than being creative.
Right.
And he makes this really compelling argument that in today's world, where connection is so important, it's actually like the artist within us that's the key to, thriving.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's dig into that a bit.
Hmm.
Godin uses this really powerful analogy. It's like a fox that gets lured into a cage.
Right.
And that's to illustrate what he calls the industrial trap.
Yeah.
It's almost like we were promised, security and like a good paycheck and all that.
Right.
And we all kind of like willingly walked into this system that valued like conformity and obedience above all else.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's saying, like, hey, the fence is gone.
Yeah.
We're free, but most of us haven't even noticed.
It's true. He really captures it perfectly. I mean, he says, like, the fence has been dismantled. It's gone.
Right.
But most of us have no idea that we are no longer fenced in.
It's so true. It's like we're still playing by the rules of a game that no one's playing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But, if the old rules are gone, like, what are the new ones?
Yeah.
And how do we, like, adapt?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Godin seems to think the answer is, embracing our inner artist, which,
Mm-hmm.
what does that even mean? Like, he's not just talking about, painters and musicians.
Yeah, exactly. He goes beyond that traditional, like, definition of artist. It's
Yeah.
not about, your actual job title or your profession. It's about how you, like, approach the world. It's an attitude, not a profession.
I like that.
And he defines it, pretty simply.
Yeah.
He says art is a unique work of a human being, work that touches another.
So it's creating something, like, meaningful, something that, like, resonates with someone.
Exactly. Regardless of what form it takes.
So, like, a teacher that inspires students could be considered an artist.
Absolutely.
Or, like, an entrepreneur that builds a company that, like, solves a real problem.
Yes.
Even, like, volunteering time to help other people.
Yep. That's all art.
Wow.
He's challenging us to really broaden, like, what we think of as creating,
Right.
and to make a difference.
Yeah.
He sees it less as, like, a thing and more like a way of being, a way of interacting with the world,
Right, right. So, like, if this artistic approach is so important, why are we so hesitant to embrace it? Like, why are we still so drawn to that, that fox in the cage kind of existence?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? He thinks it's partially because of all the myths and, like, propaganda that have shaped how we see success.
Right.
Like, think about Icarus, right? Flew too close to the sun.
And fell.
Yeah, fell. And we're taught not to fly too high.
Right.
Don't take too many risks.
Right. Don't stand out.
Don't stand out, yeah.
Yeah.
Blend in. It's funny because even for me, like, I can think of so many times where I've held back from something I was really excited about
Yeah.
because I was afraid to fail.
Yeah, totally. Or afraid to look silly,
Absolutely. It's a fear we all share. But Godin's saying that fear is often, misplaced.
Right.
He even says, and I'm quoting here, "We've been sold and sold hard on the appeal of the banality of factory work and not just in our day jobs."
Yeah.
Like, we've almost been programmed to accept mediocrity,
Right.
to just settle.
Yeah. Yeah. But, like, what happens to the idea of success then? If we're embracing this, inner artist, like, does the old idea of success become irrelevant?
Well, it's not necessarily about, like, everyone quitting their jobs and becoming starving artists, right?
Right.
It's more about, like, whose definition of success are we even chasing?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Are we following someone else's dream?
Right.
Or are we, like, forging our own path?
So it's more about aligning your work with, like, what matters to you.
Exactly. Your values.
Yeah. Even if it doesn't look like, the successful thing.
Right. And that's where this shift comes in.
Okay.
From, the industrial age to what he calls the connection economy.
Right. And that's a whole other.
It's a whole new ball game.
Yeah. Different rules, different values.
Yeah. Different opportunities to, like, create and connect.
That's interesting. So can we unpack that a bit?
Sure.
Like, what exactly is the connection economy?
Okay. So the connection economy it's kind of like we're moving away from just tangible goods,
Mm-hmm.
and we're putting more value on the the intangible stuff, like relationships and trust and shared experiences.
Right.
Right.
It's almost like it's less about, producing a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
And more about like building genuine connections.
Mm-hmm.
Like creating these experiences that really resonate with people on a deeper level.
Exactly. Like the most successful companies today, they're not just selling products, they're creating communities.
Right. Yeah.
Like they connect with their customers on an emotional level.
Right.
In the industrial age, it was all about efficiency and mass production.
Right. Just like churn it out.
Yeah, just churn it out. But the connection economy, it's about personalization, authenticity, creating something unique.
Right.
Like think about the open source software movement. It's a perfect example, right?
Interesting.
People are just collaborating, sharing ideas freely, creating value together, but there's no like traditional hierarchy or ownership.
Yeah, it's very different from that old way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, how does this tie back to the artist within then?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does Godin think artists are, like, better equipped to thrive in this new world?
Well, artists are just inherently comfortable with, like, vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They're willing to put themselves out there, share
Awesome.
their unique perspective, even if it means risking, criticism or rejection.
Right.
And that takes courage.
Yeah.
That willingness to be seen,
Right.
to be heard. That's essential now.
Yeah, totally. It does take a lot of, like, boldness to create something from nothing,
It does.
and to, like, put it out there and be like, hey, this is me. This is what I made.
Yeah. And that's what he calls shipping your work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just take action, overcome that doubt and fear, and actually put it out into the world for people to see.
Yeah. Okay, I get that.
Mm.
He also talks about embracing the weird.
Yes.
What's that all about? Like, how does being weird help you succeed in this connection economy?
Well, see, in the industrial age, fitting in, that was the key.
Right.
You had to conform to succeed. But now it's the outliers.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are different, they stand out. They often make the biggest impact.
So it's almost like instead of trying to appeal to, like, everybody,
Yeah.
it's actually more effective to, like, really focus on connecting with a smaller group
Mm-hmm.
that really gets your work.
Yes. It's like the internet has given us this amazing ability to find our people,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how niche they are. Think about all these online communities. There's literally an audience out there for everything.
Right. So it's like finding your tribe,
Yeah,
the people who really understand you and appreciate what you do.
exactly. And they're the ones who become your biggest fans.
Right.
They'll spread your message and make your impact even bigger.
Listening to this, I'm realizing, like, how much I've been holding myself back.
Yeah.
Worrying about being too much, not enough.
Yeah, it's common.
Just, fitting into some mold that I think I'm supposed to fit in.
We're all conditioned to seek approval, not make waves.
Yeah.
But Godin's challenging us to embrace those parts of ourselves that make us unique, even if they seem weird,
Right.
Because those weird parts, those are often the things that will help us stand out, help us connect with the people who are meant to find us.
That's such a good point. Like, it's permission to just be myself.
Exactly. Let your freak flag fly. And that's where this idea of kamusa comes in.
Kamusa. What's that?
Oh, it's this term that Godin uses, and it describes, like, the delayed gratification of putting your work out there
Right.
and just trusting that it will eventually find its audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's about patience, faith. Keep creating, even if you don't see results right away.
So it's kind of like planting a seed
Yes.
and trusting that it will grow into something beautiful,
Exactly. Even if it takes time and nurturing, it's a different mindset, right?
Right.
We're so used to instant gratification these days, but Godin says, like, this willingness to embrace the long game, that's essential for creating work that truly matters.
Yeah. That's it. This is really resonating with me. But, how do we actually cultivate that courage and patience?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to say, be vulnerable, ship your work.
Yeah.
But, like, how do we actually overcome those voices in our head that tell us we're not good enough?
That's where grit comes into play. And he describes it as, well, it's more than just, toughing it out.
Right.
It's this blend of resilience and perseverance,
Mm-hmm.
and almost like this stubborn commitment to your vision.
Right.
It's about pushing through those moments of self-doubt,
Yeah.
the times you want to give up, and just staying true to the work that you feel is important.
So it's not about, like, just working hard. It's working hard on the right things.
Exactly. The things that align with your purpose, with your values. And it's also about, being okay with being uncomfortable, stepping outside that comfort zone, experimenting, failing, and learning. Right?
Yeah.
That's where the real growth happens.
Makes sense. Godin also talks about this, like how the industrial age kind of weaponized shame.
Yes. It's used to keep us all in line.
Right.
Shame is powerful, right? It
Right.
makes us afraid to stand out, to be different, to, risk rejection. And back in the industrial age, when obedience was so important, shame was a really effective tool.
Right, because if you didn't fit in, you were like ostracized.
Exactly. So how do we break free from that?
Yeah.
How do we overcome that fear that holds us back from, embracing our inner artist?
Yeah. How do we not let that shame hold us back?
Well, Godin says that shame is a choice. We can choose not to buy into it. We can choose to focus on the connections our art creates, on the good that we're putting out there, rather than worrying about what other people think.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like shifting our perspective.
It is. It's reclaiming our power. We don't have to let the fear of shame, run the show. He even uses the term shameless to describe the ideal artist.
But shameless.
But not shameless in a bad way,
Yeah, right.
It's shameless in the sense of being unafraid to express yourself, to create without holding back, to be truly authentic,
Okay, yeah, I like that. So we've covered a lot. We've talked about, embracing the artist within, the shift to the connection economy, the importance of grit and vulnerability and how to overcome that fear of shame.
It's a lot.
It is. But if you had to sum up Godin's message, what would it be? One key takeaway.
Oh, that's tough. But I think if I had to boil it down, he's urging us to row our own boat.
Row our own boat. I like that.
Yeah.
What does that even mean, though, in this context?
It's about, taking ownership
Yeah.
of your life, your work, your creative journey. Define success on your own terms, not by somebody else's roles. It's about choosing to create, to connect, to contribute in a way that feels meaningful to you.
I love that. It's like a call to action.
It is. It's an invitation to step into your power.
Yeah.
And make your mark on the world. And remember, you don't need permission to create, to innovate, to make a difference. It's all within you already.
One thing I really liked is how Godin gives examples of artists who have done this, musicians like David Byrne and Peter Gabriel, right?
Yes.
They walked away from mainstream success to do their own thing.
They did. It shows that success doesn't have to look a certain way.
Right. And there's tons of other examples too. People from all walks of life who are, creating meaningful work, building communities, and making a difference on their own terms.
Absolutely. They're entrepreneurs, teachers, activists, artists.
Yeah.
Everyday people who are choosing to embrace their creativity and connect with the world in an authentic way.
Well, this has been a really inspiring deep dive.
It has. Lots to think about.
Definitely. And I think I have one more quote from Godin that I really like. He says, "Art is the new safety zone."
Oh, that's a good one.
Art is the new safety zone.
I think he's saying that in a world that often feels, really chaotic and unpredictable,
Yeah.
it's through creative expression, through connecting with others, through making meaningful things that we find a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging.
Yeah. And maybe even security.
Yeah, exactly. Our creativity is a source of strength.
Right.
It helps us navigate the uncertainty, connect with ourselves and with the world.
I love that. So I think that's a really great note to end on.
It is. So go out there, create something amazing,
Yeah.
and, keep diving deep.
Absolutely. We'll catch you guys next time.